There's something that virtually every church I've ever known has in common. It is, we need more volunteers.
Yep.
We need more help.
Yep. Money and volunteers.
Money and volunteers. Almost every organization.
Yep. Every
needs
nonprofit.
That. Yeah, and every profit. Yeah, that is the lifeblood of being able to move forward and so forth. Yep. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that today on Life Talks. My name is Dan. I'm one of the teaching pastors at Life Fellowship in suburban Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm with Josh Brom, who is our producer and the president and founder of the Equal Rights Institute. And Josh, I mean, you grew up in nonprofit world. You grew up in church.
Yep.
The pastor's always up there haranguing. We need more people in the nursery. We need more people greeting people. We need more people to show up to this or that. And I'm not really talking about trying to get people to volunteer necessarily. Okay. I think you should. I can't imagine, by the way, if I go to somebody's house and I'm having dinner with them, I'm going to offer to help with the dishes.
Yes.
Now, a lot of times they say, no, we just want to sit. We'll take care of that later. Yeah. But if the host or hostess gets up and starts clearing the table and doing things, I'm going to jump up and I'm going to join them. I'm going to help them. Yeah. Because to me, it's just good breeding.
Yes.
It's good character.
Yeah.
I used to tell my boys this, that if you go over to your girlfriend's house and you have dinner, you be the person that's in there standing next to mom drying the dishes.
Yes.
I said, it'll leave a good impression.
Hugely good impression. Yeah. This works on a pragmatic level too.
Yes, absolutely. And, so I can't imagine, coming to church and not being willing to volunteer. I can't imagine being grateful for my salvation as I am without ever, being willing to use a gift or a talent that I have. And every one of us has the gift of time. And I think we have to be careful that doesn't become an excuse or even a motivation, but I think it ought to be an outgrowth of our Christian life. You're not trying to earn points with God because you're helping in the cafe or handing, visitor packets to new visitors or whatever, but at the same time, it's a great way to connect, a great way to show community support. Yeah. But being a successful church volunteer also has, I think, some obligations, some responsibilities that go with it.
So help set the table here. You said earlier, I think you said you're not necessarily trying to get more people to volunteer. So what is it? What is the thesis?
Yeah, I guess my thesis is this: if you're going to be a volunteer, be a good one.
Oh, okay.
I think that's really what I'm saying.
Now I know where you're going. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I can
You should take it seriously.
Yeah. I mean,
got it.
At some level, how to be a successful church volunteer, I could,
No, that's going to sound way too corporate.
Way pompous. Yeah. But I'm simply saying, if you're going to do it, let's do it right.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in treading water. And by the way, if somebody's guilted me into doing something, my heart probably isn't in it. If my heart isn't in it, I'm probably not going to do a good job. Yeah. So let's save everybody some time and not say yes.
Yeah.
That's really, really how I feel.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I would say is we're kind of getting started. And I say this to people who are looking for volunteers, but I also say this to people who are inclined to volunteer. Be careful about the potential that desperation creates for abuse.
Oh, say more.
Everybody who has a ministry in church, or leads a ministry in church, every staff member, every pastor wants one more person. Mm-hmm. They need one more person. Mm-hmm. It'd make their life easier if they were fully staffed, fully had volunteers. And so our tendency is to use some combination of urgency and manipulation to make... I mean, it can be everything from, I'm so exhausted, I just can't get anybody to help. Nobody's faithful. We can use that. Or we can, there's just a variety of ways to do it. Yeah. And I would simply say, there are good-hearted, good-natured people that come to Life Fellowship and leave Life Fellowship for this same reason. What happens is we say yes to so much that it becomes overwhelming. Then we become burned out. Right. And when you burned out, you need recovery, but you can't recover where you burned out. Mm-hmm. Therefore, you pull up your stakes and you head to a new place. Mm-hmm. And often what they'll say is, I've come from a bad church experience, which means I was overextended, somebody didn't treat me right, whatever, and I just need to heal for a while. Yeah. I'm just going to sit in church for a few months, weeks, whatever. Yeah. And it doesn't usually take long from good-hearted people who see needs and feel like I could meet that need. I need to get off my rear end and do something and so their life is a series of overextensions, running away, overextension, running away. And I would just simply say, even at Life Fellowship, Know what you can do. Know what time you have. Know where your gifts are. Know what you enjoy doing. Knowing that it gives you pleasure before the Lord because he's gifted you to do this. Select those things and then learn to smile very graciously and say, no, I'm already committed. I'm not going to be able to help. But thank you for asking. You have to learn. Henry Cloud wrote that great book, Boundaries, years ago. And periodically I should just read it for my own mental health.
Yeah, I was rereading it recently.
Because I absolutely obliterate my boundaries all the time. And as a result, I get burned out, I get grouchy, I get all kinds of bad stuff.
This is us. And then we make a podcast.
And then we make a podcast, right? Condemned. But I do want to caution, and I would caution this to all of us who are in ministry, who lead ministries and so forth. We need to give people the freedom to decline and realize it's not a rejection. In fact, it may be an act of wisdom.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing you can possibly do is get the wrong person in the wrong spot, and then they don't show up, or they don't do well, or they don't follow through, or they disappear, or, because it's really hard to fire a volunteer. Maybe they're not the right fit, and you were just looking for any warm body will do, but no, that doesn't work. By the way, it can be dangerous. You might want to take shortcuts, particularly in the area of children's ministry. And your church, if it does not have a policy about background screening for anybody working with children under 18, if they don't have a orientation and a set of rules to follow, you need to be really, really, really mindful of that. And I would urge you to engage your leadership and to explain it to them why this is essential. For the safety of the kids, number one. For number two, just for the protection of the body, because there are creeps out there that prey on churches because churches are notoriously
innocent,
naive, and desperate, which is just a deadly combination, particularly when it comes to recruiting volunteers for children.
Can I help you real quick make a caveat, and then you can move on to your next point? Because I agree. Like I think something I heard you saying was like a lot of people will kind of come to church and they will say like I need some time. I need like some transition time, and because I'm coming from some stuff. And sometimes I think I hear you saying like that can become an excuse, at least eventually. I imagine you would agree there are some people that like have been really, really hurt by like their last pastor or something like that. And for them, it might like, is there a rough like amount? Like, is it reasonable for someone to take like 6 months? Like, is there like I know people are complicated, so like there might be no answer to this, but like I imagine there's some people that are so traumatized and hurt by really, really messed up pastors. I know this is not all the time. That they do need like a lot of time where like they just need to be cared for a while.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And in terms of a timeline, my suggestion is don't have a timeline. Because nobody heals at the same rate.
That makes sense. Yep.
And the other thing I would say, there are some things that you should not, if the doctor tells you you've got cancer, you may read on the internet that eating broccoli worked for somebody, but you still need some medical attention, okay? You still need some medical care.
Yeah.
And spiritually, don't self-medicate.
Yeah.
Find a responsible person who will journey with you, particularly when it comes to any kind of abuse. And we throw that word abuse around sometimes, but I think you know what I'm saying here. It doesn't have to just be sexual abuse. It can be verbal abuse. It can be a manipulation.
Power dynamics.
Power dynamics. I come from a background that I consider to be, if not a cult, it was cultic.
Yeah.
Because it was uber fundamentalist. There you go. It was uber fundamentalist.
Yeah.
And it was built around personality and individuals. It used the wrong kind of Bible study, as I talked about in one of my previous episodes. And it was very manipulative. They were drawing a crowd. They were building power. Yeah. And here's an example for it, because it came with volunteering. So I went to college at one of the big that type of denomination, one of their big flagship schools. And I'm a hillbilly from Missouri, but I've been teaching Sunday school since I was 14 years old. At 16, I was driving a Sunday school bus, picking up kids on Sunday morning at 7 o'clock to bring them to church. I mean, I was ingrained in church 3, 4, 5 times a week. So there was no question about my dedication to ministry. And so we go on their first, and they didn't have Rush Week where you had all these different kinds of sororities and fraternities to join, but instead you could join ministries, volunteer ministries for the church. And I was excited. I joined this club and this ministry and that ministry, and I'm in just all these different opportunities to reach the community for Christ or whatever. And I'm just signing my name on everything. And I realized, well, I have an 18-hour course load. I wasn't living on campus. I needed a job. For the first 8 weeks, I didn't even have my own transportation. I couldn't do all this.
Yeah.
I couldn't do all this. So I started peeling them up. I'm sorry. I shouldn't sign up for you. I literally had a guy, the guy's still alive today, send someone to my dorm room and say, you're a quitter. You are worthless because you don't keep your word. And if you do not show up on time for the thing you volunteered for on this Saturday morning at 8:00, the person who's the head of this organization is going to put a letter in your permanent file that says, do not ever hire this man. I'm 18 years old.
This is so abusive.
Yeah. And you will never get a decent job. I call my dad and I'm like, what? Dad, my life is over. It's ruined. I had signed up for 2 things at the same time. I had to choose between one of them. And Dad laughed. He said, don't believe that garbage. They can't do that to you. Just calm. I mean, he just absolutely, just dismissed it all and made me feel better or whatever. But that was the kind of abusive nature. And
that's really not okay.
Yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay.
And it happens a lot. It doesn't always happen at that extreme level.
No. But in some cases, it's worse.
Yes.
Because you and I both have read, where a pastor will say, I'm so lonely. My wife doesn't understand me. Mm-hmm. I can really empathize with what you're having happen in your ministry. Mm-hmm. I feel connected to you. Next thing you know, they're sleeping together.
Yep.
And that power dynamic on top of vulnerability and so forth. And the next thing you know, you've got horrific, wicked sin going on. And then she's afraid that you wouldn't bring down the man of God. You're going to destroy the church. People are going to go to hell because you tell the truth.
It's such a spiritual abuse.
Yeah. Oh. So I'm saying if that is your story, first of all, I'm terribly sorry.
Yes.
It doesn't just happen in churches, but when it does happen in churches, it's double bad.
Horrible.
It's double bad because we're supposed to be representing something purer and better.
Yes.
But please, 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 please get some help. Go to someone who will journey with you.
Yes.
If it's a situation where authorities need to be notified. I don't care how long ago it was happening. Blow the whistle. Don't tolerate that. And you are cared for and valued first and foremost by God, and your experience does not define him, but it defines the wicked people that sometimes abuse people in his name, and it has to stop. Mm-hmm. And the best way to make it to stop is to shine the sunlight on it.
Yep.
So all of that, kind of a sidetrack, but I think it's really important that we kind of pause there and say that because I've seen it over the years. But there's some foundational attitudes, I think, that help us to know when and how and where to volunteer. So let me just kind of hit those real quickly. Number one is, remember this, volunteering isn't about you, it's about him. All right? So make sure your motivation is always on that. There are all kinds of motivations, and not all of them are sinful or wicked. Like if you say, well, I want to be the most important person in the church. I want to be the new next pastor or whatever. That's okay. That crossed the line. But it might simply be that you're being pressured, or you think, well, I was at a huge church one time and I did. No, examine your heart. Examine your motivation. Expect not to get applause. Expect not to get recognition. And expect not to, on some places, to be appreciated the way you deserve to be appreciated. But you're not working for them and you're not working for the church, you're working for the Lord. And if you don't have that real clear up front, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get wounded. Yeah. Because, people make mistakes, people get careless, people get cold. Yeah. So even unnoticed work, unrecognized work, is known by him.
And that's a reason also for us, like while we're trying to be better volunteers, like recognize the people around you. Like I work so hard, like especially when I do like worship team stuff, is like the sound guys, the lighting guys, the people doing the slides, those are the unsung heroes of the morning a lot of times, and no one's paying attention to them. They pay attention to the people who are singing well or maybe playing good music on stage or whatever. And it's like, I want to know their names. I want to recognize them. I want to like hang out with them. I want to recognize. So like so true. Anytime I'm like around, like if I'm seeing someone like loading trash in something or whatever, like I'm just trying to like, I might work. I'm not even doing it in a balanced way. I kind of probably ignore a lot of times the people that have more privilege or authority or whatever, but I'm like, I want to make sure they're recognized. I want to use their name. I want to like, I see them. And every volunteer can do that. Every volunteer can be looking for who are the other unsung heroes around here, so I can just give them a quick pat on the back.
And that is every one of our jobs, not just the pastor's job or the elder's job or the deacon's job. and I'm not patting myself on the back, but this is what I have found. Like every month, at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, I go to every classroom in Kid Life.
Nice.
And I stick my head in the door and I say, thank you so much for serving.
I love that.
And then every time I take my microphone pack off, I try to say to all the people, because there's like 6 people in that back room, thank you all for serving today.
Good.
I also like to look for teenagers who are serving, because
nice.
for many times teenagers, it's not cool. It's they're ooh, these adults, I always like to go to the teenagers and say, hey,
church service.
I just want to give them a particular thanks, because they're starting at an early age. And then I also look for the people who are just there every week. We've got a gentleman named Mike Dysart who volunteers as an usher every single week. He wears a sport coat. He comes in, he is ready to go. And he's at a station in life where he could travel every weekend. His wife teaches in Kid Life, and his wife's an amazing teacher. And but every week he's there. I wonder how many people have ever stopped and said, it's always good to see Mike at that door every week greeting people and say, hey, thanks for being faithful. I think those things are really important. I'm glad you brought that up. The second thing I was also say is this: be teachable and humble if you want to be successful, because we don't always know the reasons. We used to joke because our college had this huge rule book, but it was like, that rule's there because of me.
That's hilarious.
There's usually a reason behind most rules.
This is like when you see like the ridiculous safety warnings on things. It's like, oh no.
Somebody removed the tag at some
must
point.
have happened to somebody.
So you may think the policy is stupid.
Yeah.
But it's there for a reason.
Yeah.
We had a situation, and this is long enough, nobody knows who I'm talking about at all here, but we have a rule that nobody can be in a restroom alone with anybody, and nobody can be in a classroom alone with anybody.
Yeah.
And
perfectly reasonable.
And so we had a guy who walked into a restroom where a child was using the restroom, because they thought they needed some help, or he had a reason.
Yeah.
I don't think he was trying. He was in his 50s. I don't think he was trying to do anything.
Sure.
There was somebody, but we have a 0 tolerance policy on that.
Good.
And we said, I'm so sorry,
Yep.
but you violated the rule.
Yep.
And we can no longer have you volunteering.
Yep.
Now, it hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
It embarrassed him.
Yeah.
But the reality is, there are certain policies you have. The reason, for instance, we've had I don't think we have it here now, but we did for many years at my church, was that Saturday activities had to be done by 4:00. The reason why is because we had volunteers and different people coming in to set up and clean up and so forth. And we didn't want them there at midnight on the night before church started. Yeah. So we had between 4 and 8. Oh, people would get so angry. This is so legalistic. This is so stupid. And I'm not going to explain to them every single time, it's because of this or that. Right. Because then they would have just simply come back and said, well, I'll clean up. I'll do this. I'll do it. No. We've got a system. That's not the point. Right.
This is a protective
thing. So be teachable, be humble. Yeah. Your Sunday school superintendent, your Kid Life director, your Bible study leader, they may gently say to you, you need to let other people answer some of the questions sometimes. You've got so much to share, and thank you so much for that. But part of our journey is letting everybody's voice be heard. And if you get, well, I'm just going to take my expertise somewhere where they appreciate it. Well, okay, go. Because in the end, humility and teachability are an important thing. And we all have blind spots. Yes. Dan Burrell does for sure.
Josh Brom totally does. Yep.
So another thing is be reliable. Be on time, follow through, communicate if you can't fulfill a responsibility, and don't do it at the last minute. Yep. So I was talking to our preschool director earlier this morning, and, there's a little bit of a bug that goes around every so often, and some of the teachers get it. It's just working with children. Yep. But she had a bunch of teachers out today, and she goes, oh, the worst part of my job is finding substitutes. That is true, but at least you can pay your substitutes when you're the kids Sunday school director or whatever. But here's the thing. When you call at 8:30 on Sunday morning and say, oh, I forgot to tell you, we're at the beach this weekend.
That throws a lot off.
It throws a lot off. And if you're at the beach, you knew you were going to the beach. You didn't decide at 7 this morning, all right, we're going to the beach today. Right. So be considerate of the people that are having to backfill behind you. Be reliable, be faithful, and everybody gets a vacation. I get that. Everybody has, your kid wakes up and pukes all over your breakfast some morning. I mean, if you're a parent, it's happened to you. We understand those. But when you've been all week at the beach and you're going to be there the next week too, and you're, oh, by the way, it slipped my mind, I should have told you. And we're always going to say is, well, thank you for letting us know. We appreciate it. Have a good week and so forth. And then you hang the phone up and you pull your hair out and you say, oh my goodness, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing is just simply be prayerful. And part of being prayerful to me is coming early. So I'm gonna irritate some folks, and please bear with me.
Here we go.
Yeah, but if your responsibility starts at 9:00 when the service starts, and you arrive at 8:58, what are all the people who got there on time or a little bit early going to do? They're going to stand on the hallway for you to get there. Are the workers going to? You have to move workers around again. But if you came in at 30 minutes before, at 8:30. And you walked and you made sure everything was straight. You got everybody's papers out. Yeah. And then you just prayed over each chair.
Yep.
You have time. You're going to be in a better frame of mind. You're going to be able to greet parents. You're going to be able to talk to people that are the guests. The kid who's brand new and they've never been in and they're crying and they don't know if they want to. They have attachment disorder or something going on. You can just be there. You can be with them. And you know what it really, when it comes right down to it, I don't care whether my alarm rings at 5:30 in the morning or 9:30 in the morning. When my alarm rings, I grouch about it.
Right.
Doesn't matter. I'm going to grouch. Right. I want 5 more minutes.
Right.
So set your alarm, grouch, and get to church on time or early.
Just plan. So I've when I play keyboards here sometimes, I've got a keyboard rig that takes a half an hour to set up.
I've seen you do it.
It's not this, if I was coming here to play drums and just bringing my sticks, it would be a different thing. I know I need some time to get all this and troubleshoot and make sure that everything's working, everything. I have sometimes been here, the poor choir has watched me trying to get everything because they didn't have enough time. But usually I'm I want to be there an hour before we start. So I've got plenty of time to do this. And when I do have then more time to hang out. Maybe we have, we're having pizza. Maybe I'm able to be part of that. Whereas sometimes I'm not because I'm just getting everything set up until we're going.
That's
Those are two very different things.
And in doing so, if you're late and if you are setting up, everybody else is having to wait to do their job that they got there on time.
Oh, I hate that.
And it's a bad feeling for them too because I got out of bed this morning.
Right.
And then also Rudolph Giuliani said in his book on leadership, a broken window leads to another broken window that leads to a whole wall of broken windows. One person being late leads to another person being late till everybody comes in at late.
Who said that?
Rudolph Giuliani. He didn't
was
say
he
that
talking about
late.
January 6th? What is it?
No. This was years ago when he became mayor of New York.
Broken window. Oh, that was the 9/11 thing.
No, it was before that.
Before that,
when he was the mayor of New York, it was known for its strip clubs on Times Square. It was known for high crime, graffiti everywhere. So he literally, one of the things he did was he had every bit of graffiti taken off the subway trains every single night, power washed off. And eventually they quit. They quit doing it.
Interesting.
If you didn't repair a broken window in your building, you had 4 days to do it, 3 days to do it. If you didn't, you got fined. Because they realized that broken windows said, well, that window's broken. I'll break that one too, and all that, and so there's kind of a general principle that if you see a sloppy room, you're going to have a sloppy house.
I think that's true.
Yeah. So and here I'm going to rant, and we're out of time. So
here we go.
I'm going to rant. We had a wonderful service last Sunday. It was Communion de Vida Sunday. We had our Spanish church come in and do the service. Awesome. And it was fantastic. My good friend Jose Bass, Pepe, did the message, and we have the band is excellent, and the band is very Latino, and a bunch of Lake Norman white people. It took a little bit to kind of get into it, but the more it went, the more they enjoyed it, and so forth. But here's the thing that made me sad. I bet you 60 people came in between 9:10 and 9:15.
Yeah.
And if you came, by the way, I'm glad you came. I'm glad you came at all. Don't misunderstand me. But some of you had Starbucks cups in your hands when you came or whatever. So I know you left your house perhaps on time. But you know what you missed? You missed about 15 minutes of some heaven-honoring, important music that these people had prepped. This was their time on the platform. They prepared, they had practiced, they rehearsed.
To serve you,
to be there. And you came bebopping in 15 minutes, so you missed 3 of the songs. And you missed the blessing because it was a blessing. It was really, really good. And so I just simply say, I think all of us, we wouldn't treat our jobs that way. So it says a lot about us when we treat the Lord that way. And again, you say, oh, Dan, you're being legalistic or whatever. I said, well, welcome to evangelicalism then, because you are living out. There, I'm really ranting now. You're living out what I think is wrong in a lot of our hearts today, and is that I'll give God the leftovers. If it's convenient, I can work in it. Yeah. I would just simply say, if that's you, okay, float your boat. You don't answer to me. But I would simply say, I think it's worth some introspection and a talk with the Lord about.
Or else you're not going to like this podcast very much.
Yeah, it's part of it. And Lord knows, I have my own frailties and failures as well. So, Josh, it's always fun. Yeah. I enjoy talking to you. And we enjoy having you drop in on us here at Life Talks. I hope you'll drop us a note sometime. Let us know what you're thinking at lifetalks@lifecharlotte.com. Until next time, thanks as always for joining us here at Life Talks.